Hey everybody, welcome back to ASN Presents Pull Up a Chair. Today's episode 9. Can you believe it? Already 9 episodes in. Sorry I'm late again this week. Crazy work week. But hopefully next week I can get back on schedule. Today, obviously, since it's an odd episode, you just have to listen to me rant about something. And I have nothing better to rant about yet again than AI. It's becoming more and more the forefront of, or really I should just say target of, God, I want to say this the nicest way, but I'm not going to. I don't care. Ignorant people. I hate the word ignorant, but ignorant's real. When you don't know about something, but yet you make a judgment, that's ignorant. And that's what people are doing, making ignorant statements, making ignorant decision on whether AI is good or bad. It's not educated, so it can only be one other thing, right? And so I want to counter that horrible taste that's being thrown out there with a better taste of what AI isn't, and just talk about AI. And I know that's probably going to annoy some people, and some have already shut this off. And you can, I always say you can lead a horse to water. You can grab its head and shove it in the water, but you can't force it to drink. So some people have already shut off because they just don't want to learn, or they just don't want to hear a different opinion to theirs. Especially, this is such a touchy subject with some people. Technology has always been a touchy subject. So let me just say, cards and dice is not N-O-T, being destroyed by AI. It's really the simplest statement I could make. It's being destroyed by fear, misunderstanding, and the refusal to learn how modern tools work. It doesn't mean you have to use them. And I think that some people, when they post about AI, kind of really post the wrong thing. Maybe what's not even in their hearts. It may be, I don't have time to learn about ChatGPT or this or that, have no interest in trying to learn it. I just want to do things my way. That doesn't mean ChatGPT or Copilot or AI is bad. It just means that person doesn't want to further their skill set. And that sounded bad, but that's the reality. They are happy in their environment and how they do something, and they want to do it that way. I don't have issue with that. I have issue with somebody saying I won't use it because it's bad. Of course, when you ask them what's bad, a lot of people love to turn to this ridiculous lawsuit that's out there against a company that took the training books of something and gave it to chat, basically. Or in this case, it was one of the very older, non-successful AI libraries, and tried to teach it using it. And that company took offense because they used their books. Well, are we going to start saying books nobody can read them anymore? Or is it only that a computer can't read it? I mean, give me a break. It's not like they stole their information. It was a training book that they had bought, and then they used to train their model. That's how AI works. It was actually to really make their product more successful, because if you had an AI bot, it could take out a lot of the redundant tasks if it understood them. So out of ignorance, up goes a lawsuit, because that's what a lot of lawsuits are just plain ignorance. So I want to throw that out there. And before anyone reaches the comment sections, no, I'm not saying you have to use AI. I'm not. I'm just saying don't rag it when you don't know what the hell you're talking about. I'm just saying don't condemn something you don't understand. And clearly you don't understand. So here's the uncomfortable truth. This hobby itself, cards and dice, and a little payoff pitch right here in front of me, right? It was built on innovation. All of AI is built on, all of C&D is built on innovation. And let's talk about the progression. Charge replaced math. Fact decks, which I have one right here, fast action card decks, right? They replace dice. Okay. Computer assisted stats replace notebooks, or we use these digital diamond and all the different I score and different things that are out there. We're using those. That's okay, right? And PDFs replaced, just card stock and stuff that people were using. So every time in each one of these little steps that we have taken within this community, someone stood up and said, this isn't real anymore, right? And here we are surviving through, and I've got fast action cards, but you can still use dice if you want. Options there. It doesn't mean you have to use fast action cards. They're an opportunity that helps you go faster, makes you like the game a little more. None of these, none of these things have killed the game. They've enhanced the game. Not for everybody, but for some players, right? Having the ability to put your stats into digital diamond has enhanced the game for some people. Not everyone, some people. And so why couldn't those people, or why shouldn't those people be allowed to use it? Why is it okay to drag AI's name under, but nobody's dragging digital diamond under? Well, that's bullshit. You're using that, you're cheating. You should be using paper and pencil. Right? Well, that was my great-grandfather's thought. Come on. AI isn't changing the outcome of the game in anything we do, right? It isn't deciding the winners. Yes, you can buy these programs and computer programs, that's all AI in there, and they can decide them for you. But I'm talking specifically in the cards and dice community. It is not affecting my pitcher to catchers. I'm looking right here at my payoff pitch on my tabletop. It is not affecting the outcome of what I do using a fast action card or using dice. Entering that result in digital diamond, none of that affects the pitcher and batter confrontation that happens. Okay. So let's take a step back and understand what we're talking about when we say AI, and talk about who's using it and how they're using it. And most people who use it and know how to use it will almost always tell you, again, it's the ones who know what they're doing, will tell you that it makes the boring stuff go faster, so we can have more fun doing the fun stuff, and instead of me having to, write all that stuff down at the end of a game in a box score. And I get, hey, look, I'm not ragging anybody who likes to do it that way. I did it as a kid. And I'm happy as hell I don't have to do it as an adult, because I just think there's nothing, I don't get anything out of that. I do get that there are some people who get something out of that. They like to go through their book, and look at the games they wrote down themselves. And they just want that computerless feel, get everything off my desk. All I want is the game, a pencil, and some paper. And there's nothing wrong with that if that's what you like. You see the difference between people who like AI and back AI, if you will, and the people who don't, is the ability for the people who like AI and back AI to say you don't have to use AI, keep doing it your way. But the people who just do it one way, they like to rag what they don't understand. And they like to reach out and say something is wrong, or it's worst case, they call out the integrity of it because they're scared of it. They don't want to use it, so they don't want you to use it. And that is where the bullshit meter comes for me, and where I've had enough. You don't like it, don't freaking use it. No one says you have to. But going on and talking about, today I saw somebody say their art was stolen by AI. Oh, are you fucking kidding me? Just so wrong, so not true. so impossible if you understood AI. Tried to say a chat, like ChatGPT stole it. Somebody else decided they wanted a make of this player, and it came out to be exactly their player, but a little bit different with some extra stuff on it. It was like a replica of the baseball card. What I don't understand is why that person never thought that someone, not AI, someone stole their card, found it somewhere. If you want to call it stolen, I believe in a whole nother topic that we should be sharing, not hoarding. I don't care how long it took you to do something. If you put it on social media, you are sharing. If you put it out there and you shared it, it's public property. You want it to be yours, put a damn watermark on it. But I'll tell you what, in today's technology, they'll take that crap right off of there. And that's not AI, that's people doing it, not AI. Now, what happened in this situation was that I believe happened in this situation. Someone photoshopped his card, put it in Photoshop, used that as their template, and added the information. So I looked exactly like it. In fact, I went to ChatGPT and put in a detailed prompt trying to come up with exactly the same card that he had and came nowhere close. And I put details in. AI does not steal from your art gallery. It creates its own. Sorry, my phone was going off there. It creates its own, and it's fictional. Besides, it's fictional. So they just create whatever. And it's a 1 in a billion chance that it's going to come out exactly like what you spent 3 hours creating, supposedly, which, by the way, you spent 3 hours creating something and AI can do it for you in 2 minutes. Who's the idiot? So anyway, all right, idiot's a tough word. Tell me what's wrong with that? You know, some people will say, well, now the creative art is gone. Okay. I'm not an artist. I can't create that. You can give me the 3.5 hours, I still won't create it. I'm not good with it. So I should not have the ability to have a tool to create it for me. You're just jealous that it does it in such a short time that you can't deal with it. That's all. That's really everything that comes down with the anger toward AI is jealousy. Total jealousy. Jealousy that some people have taken the time to understand it and are now light years above your education level and light years above your understanding and can do certain things that you can't do no longer because you refused to understand a tool in the toolbox, and now you're pissed. So you lash out at the people who use it, and you lash out at the tool itself. Give me a break. It says everything about you when you do this stuff. Okay, so, I want to throw a few other little things out there in this rant that I just, kind of took some notes down so that I try to keep myself on path here. I want to put some analogies together, if you will, because I think that helps some people. And the first one that hit me right away was microwaves. Do you remember, and I guess this is all going to depend on your age. So, you're 30 something and you have no idea what I'm talking about. But when microwaves first came out, what did everybody say? What did the naysayers say, right? They all said it was going to cause cancer. Oh, those microwave waves, the waves from the micro are going to create cancer in every home. Everybody's going to have cancer. Yeah. Well, lots of people have cancer, but it didn't come from the microwave. So they didn't say might, they all said would. So, they were the naysayers who were so damn sure X was going to happen, and they just refused to buy for a little while. Of course, where are we at today? Literally, every home has a microwave. Literally. So, fear aged. Reality didn't. Calculators. Let's talk about calculators, right? Remember when those first came out? Again, it's going to depend on your age. teachers swore up and down that those were going to kill and destroy our math skills, right? And then, kids would never learn how numbers work. Remember that? Yep. They still, even a little bit today, might hear some stuff like that. But what happened? Instead, we stopped wasting time on arithmetic and started teaching problem solving. So you see that instead of spending time on something that could be available to you, I'm not saying kids shouldn't be taught what 1 + 1 and it's 2 + 2, blah, 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 blah. But there's a certain point where that becomes that you kind of top off, and it, knowing anything else after a certain amount is ridiculous. Okay. And you get to a certain age and a certain education level, and you already know all that stuff. I'm not saying first graders should have calculators on their desks. I'm saying when you get to high school, if you don't know what 4 + 4 is, right? You don't know what, that's not what the calculator is for. The calculator is huge numbers, right? And so you don't have to sit there and do all the math and carry one, carry this over, carry that over. I mean, understanding how to do that is one thing. Having to do it all day long when you could be doing something else like problem solving and learning how to advance your skills, not hone your skills as much, advance them. That's where the problem is. So AI didn't replace the thinking, that 2 + 2 is 4 or 100 + 100 is 200. It replaced the busy work of you just having to do that all the time. That's you imagine if our accountants didn't have them. They know how to add, but the numbers that they deal with are outrageous, and they have to have those in there. And humans make mistakes. They hit the wrong number on the keyboard, right? They add wrong. If you were to do that in your head, the chances of you making a mistake are, I don't know what the percentage is, but it's up there. There's a possibility depending on how much you're dealing with. Now you deal with a calculator, as long as this is always going to be there, as long as you put it in right, you're going to get it back right. You put it in wrong, you're going to get it back wrong. That's something a lot of people just have to come to grips with. They like to say, I put in X and I got back Y, and now I'm pissed off. Well, because your X sucked. That's why you got Y. Too bad. Anyway, moving on. Next, Excel. Let's talk about Excel. Microsoft Excel. Yes. Before Excel, the real work meant paper ledgers and handwritten formulas, right? Then spreadsheets showed up. All of a sudden, that wasn't real anymore. Funny how no one's asking an accountant or your tax person to go back to graph paper. Are you? No, you want to make sure your taxes are right. You want to make sure they're in correctly. You want to get the biggest refund you could possibly get. Well, nobody misses inefficiency when it's gone. Let's talk about photography. When photography became a mainstream, painters, remember those guys? Painters panicked. They said art was dead. What actually happened? Well, painting evolved into new styles. New styles emerged from painting. Creativity expanded. Okay. Now, and probably most important, more people got involved, because you have to remember that a lot of this stuff allows people, a lot of this AI allows people to experience and excel and do things. I'm not talking about plagiarizing. I'm not talking about stealing other people's work. I'm talking about having a tool help you learn faster, help you do some things maybe you can't do or don't have time to do, and do it for you so that you can excel. That's what AI is about. Can it be used bad? Can anything that's good be used bad? Come on. Tools don't kill creativity. They remove constraints, is what they do. They take the constraint away from people and say, yes, you can do this. Here, I'm going to help you. Here's how we get through it. AI is not creating it. You are, but you're getting help in your toolbox. That's what is happening. These people who think it's just, wow, he just created that out of one line or two lines of a prompt. No, that's not. Yes, you can get that kind of stuff. I'm not saying you can't. It's not going to be probably what you want, accurate text. There's lots of things that are probably going to be wrong with a 1 or 2 sentence prompt. I'm talking about people who take the time to learn a craft called AI prompting, who then utilize that to help them be more efficient in their day. Tell me how that's wrong. Tell me how that challenges the integrity of cards and dice. Tell me how that makes our developers weaker or not human or somehow cheating or somehow you don't want to buy that product because it has an AI attached to it, or he used AI to create that. I guarantee you he didn't use AI to create that. Statement alone is idiotic at best. He used AI as a tool in his toolbox to get some repetitive tasks done so that he could get you your product faster, so that he wasn't burnt out on garbage tasks, reusable things that he has to constantly do. And he's more fresh and he has time to create more creative ideas. That's what AI does. Video replay in sports. Oh, this one should hit home, right? Right in our backyard. Let's talk about video replay. Remember when instant replay came out? Gonna ruin the human element of the game. That's what we said, right? We said, oh, it's all part of the game. We need the umpires to, they're just part of the game. They make a bad call, live with it. We all say that when the bad call goes our way. Yes, they're just human. Boy, that bad call goes the wrong way for the other team, and your team got knocked out of the playoffs or lost the Super Bowl, or your pitcher didn't get a perfect game, talking to you Detroit fans against my Indians, because we didn't have instant replay. Yeah, guy got a fucking perfect game stolen from him because of a human error. Okay? You can be okay with that. I'm not going to die on this hill for AI. However, I'm going to say that 99.9% of you, when you've seen that replay and you see that it got turned back in the favor of your team, you were kissing its boots. Now, if the AI showed you it didn't happen, or guy went out of bounds or whatever, and whatever, it was clearly shown right to you on the television that your team should get the benefit of this call, and that black and white striped referee walks out there and still says the other thing, pissed off at AI, you pissed off at the human. Yeah. We don't reject accuracy. We reject change. That's what that's what we do in our world. Let's talk about digital music. CDs killed vinyl. MP3s killed CDs. Streaming killed MP3s. Yet somehow the music has survived. The formats change, but the passion hasn't. But you can argue all day long, like I might. Music isn't as good as it used to be. It has nothing to do with the format of how it was used. We have just been given over and over again better formats to hear our music. I don't hear anybody bitching and moaning that they have the ability to pop on any song at any time that they want. I could not do that as a kid. There was no internet. There was no ability to just grab Spotify or any of the other tools that are out there, Amazon Music, and just play whatever song I want. Nope. We don't complain about that. That seems to be okay because it benefits us. We see the immediate benefit of being able to play our own song. We don't complain that AI and a lot of those tools present songs to you that you might like because of other stuff you listen to. You're listening to Fleetwood Mac, it gives you more Fleetwood Mac or groups like that. We're okay with that. We're okay with that. So I guess that part of AI is all right. Huh? Let's pick and choose parts we like. right? Now let's kind of finish this off with cards and dice itself. Okay, cards and dice. It's already in a compromise mode. So you don't like it, we're already too far in. We're using charts instead of equations, right? They've done that for us. The developers have done the equations and put them into charts for you, and you love that, right? That's okay. Fact desks are out there instead of probability trees. The entire hobby exists because someone once said there has to be an easier way, but there has to be a better way. There has to be a more fun way. There has to be a way that keeps my attention and keeps me wanting to play this game. There has to be, is always how these start out. There has to be. And those creative minds, not AI, those creative minds come up with those ideas and add them in. That's never going to change. The creative people who come out with these ideas and these thoughts, they're always going to be there. And if they decide to use an AI tool to help them generate 300 fictional names in whatever way they decide to prompt to get those names, who the F cares how they did that? Just take the game and enjoy it. Or would you rather, does it make you feel so much more comfortable to play that game if Keith or Ian or John or any of these other developers had sat down and thought of each and every one of those 300 names they needed to create that fictional card set? Does that make you feel better about buying that set? That he took hours out of his time to come up with Jefferson Palomalo. That made you feel good rather than getting it from an AI tool. I huff at the unbelievable ridiculousness and uneducated posts that surround our community on AI. The complete lack of understanding, complete lack of attempt to go out and figure it out on their own, and their complete lack of even trying to use it themselves to find out if what it is, what it can do, what it can't do, and what works for me. And if it's nothing, it's nothing. But again, I'm going to go back to saying nobody cares. But you don't get back on a group forum and say there's something wrong with it and then inject your being scared about it. Oh, it doesn't work, or gave me this, or make fun of it. You're making fun of yourself. I read those and go, wow, your prompt must have been something else. Bad output always equals bad input. Always. 99.9% of the time. Is going to be, especially, even for me when I was first using it, was especially on me. When I got a bad response that I was like, what the hell? This isn't even close to what I was looking for. My boss would go, yeah, you got exactly what you typed in. You didn't get what you were looking for because you didn't explain it. You did a horrible job prompting it. Now, let me help you figure out your prompt so you can get what your expectation was at the end. Sure enough, 10 minutes later, got exactly what I was looking for after we adjusted the prompt. There's nothing wrong with AI. There's something wrong with people who use it. That's all. And if you don't know how to use it, don't want to use it, get the heck out. I'm not saying get out of the hobby. I'm saying get out of the groups chats talking about it. You don't know what you're doing. You don't know what you're saying. You don't know how to use it. You don't want to use it. You don't want to go learn it. There's a million videos on YouTube to teach you how to use it. You'll go do that and learn how to use Keith's new game over at Play. But you won't go learn a tool that might actually help you not only in cards and dice, but in life. No. My grandmother says AI sucks. Oh, it's going to take over the world. It's going to get all our jobs. It's going to do this. It's going to do that. It's going to do this. Of course, there's no factual information to any of those. But, you don't think for yourself. You don't go find out answers for yourself. You listen to your buddy, you listen to your mom, you listen to your dad, you listen to your brother. But actually going out and figuring it out for yourself, I don't have time for that. No? Then you're going to look as dumb as the people you got the answer from. But that's on you. That's on you. So, every generation has, I'm in my late 50s. So I can say that every generation has drawn a line right after the tools they're comfortable with. And that's it. And every time history looks back, it says the same thing. They were wrong. AI isn't dangerous because it's new. It's dangerous to people who confuse discomfort with principle. That's all I have to say.